It's a little bit different.
They change it up just because I haven't been around for a while.
I think you're on.
The recording?
Yeah.
We're gonna blame you if we aren't.
I've done it, you can, I was at fault one other time, so it'd be something new.
I'll keep minutes just in case.
Yeah. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening at 6 o'clock. This is the Town of Harwich Finance Committee meeting on Thursday, July 10th. This is a recorded meeting. For anyone out there in the audience that intends on recording this meeting as well, please check in with the chair. I'll note there is no one doing that, although we have Megan Green and Mark Heller are with us this evening in the audience. I'll also state that on Zoom we have Michelle Galucci as a Finance Committee member. We have Dan Twerk, we have Scott Noren, we have Bob McCready, we have Dana DaCosta back from wherever, and myself, Peter Hughes. So I do declare we have a quorum to conduct our business, so I'll call the meeting to order. So the first item under new business are budget transfer requests that Megan has put together for us.
That's Mark.
And, oh, Mark is here, Mark Amorez, all right. So, excellent. Megan, you want to come and talk to us a little bit? I passed these out to everybody before. The total is about, let's see, I'm going to tell you exactly what the total is in a second. Total is $832,921.98. These are all within budget categories, moving things around based on what actually happened versus what was budgeted. It's a little larger, if I recall, than last year, but it is what it is. So I don't know if you had a chance to review it. I hope so. I don't intend to go through every item. If you have specific questions you'd like to ask of Megan, that would be fine. And I'll entertain those at this point if you'd like to.
Any more copies?
Sure. I got some. Here's one for you. Here's one for you.
Yeah, no, I've got.
We had over $1 million.
That was the first one that came out? There was a revision, right, Megan?
I sent a second one to you,
Right,
called the final, yes.
yeah. The second was the final one, and I sent that to you as well. You may not have seen it or paid attention to it, but,
I didn't receive it.
okay,
Yeah, I'm not sure I did either. I had the $1 million one anyway.
Okay.
all right.
We just ask you to give the number one more time, please?
I will give you the number. The number is $832,921.98. We requested to make the budget transfers for FY 2025. And we'll note that this must be done by July 15th, so we always take it up on the first meeting in July as appropriate.
We've done it on July 14th before.
So would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the transfer request as outlined by Megan
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
for $832,921.98.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the transfer request for budget transfer for FY 2025. Any discussion? Michelle, you okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here.
All right. No, I'm just making sure you don't have any questions or anything.
No,
All right, so we'll put it to a vote. We'll do a roll call vote. Dan?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Michelle?
aye.
Chair is an aye. So unanimous vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 1. Now I just have to sign a couple copies of this, so bear with me for a second.
And then you can get out of here. Unless,
Not
you
a
know,
bad deal for me.
unless the rest of this is riveting enough to keep me here.
Okay, the thing I gotta say is Megan advised me that, and you guys probably know, because I don't know much, but she is moving on to the wonderful town of Chatham, next door, effective at the end of the month, I guess it is. And we wish her luck
Thank you.
in that assignment. We're sorry to lose you. For some reason, we can't keep finance people. I don't understand.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Just make sure I sign this one. I did the right thing. So I did,
Yes.
I did. Today's date. announce them, so,
Yep,
okay?
looks good.
And you can have 3,
Great.
okay? Great.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And good
Megan,
luck.
for everything.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, next item on the,
You made an interesting point.
what?
Not being able, you made an interesting point about not being able to keep finance people. Do we do exit interviews?
We have the answer right there as our liaison.
Right.
Mark Kelleher, who might have
Sure
some
they're working
insight
on
into
the
that, I don't know. He's only been a selectman for, what, a month now, 2 months, whatever, but
2 months.
maybe,
Already warned that.
maybe he knows something we don't know.
I really don't know, other than we have an HR person, so hopefully they ask some questions and we get some idea.
That's a new hire, the HR person?
And she's been here for, I think, 5 or 6.
Oh, she has been?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it is my understanding that Eric Kinshirf is now our acting interim finance director.
I believe that's true.
And Megan told me that her position is gonna be filled temporarily by someone who's on his team, staff, right? So basically, we're subbing out our accounting
Yep.
functions.
Yep.
Okay,
Continuing to.
Which,
go ahead.
to me, that was the real interesting thing about the transfers. It used to be that when you had somebody leave a department early that was been there long in the tooth and was experienced and was being paid well, you brought in someone that was less expensive to take their place, and you actually, the town saved a little bit of money,
Yeah.
which became free cash or whatever. But it seems like a lot of these transfers had to do a lot with the consulting part of this equation, which is fairly new to the town, where different departments need a lot of consulting help, and that becomes even more expensive than having the regular people
Yeah, it's
in there.
definitely unsettling. Definitely unsettling.
That's a big trend that
Yep.
maybe we should have a discussion with the esteemed select board at some point, but
At some point.
Although the way this works, isn't it that, for instance, on the old version at least, the very first line was $90,000 for accounting, and it says interim finance director contract.
Yep.
But there's some savings elsewhere, right? Because it was a.
Well, it had to live within the budget.
position. We
It
don't
had-
get to see the savings until.
It had to live within that budget,
that
the
particular
accounting.
line,
Yeah.
yeah.
not just the office line as a whole.
No, it's the S and W, the
Yeah.
salary and wages
Right,
line has
right.
to meet it, but the consulting comes out of expenses,
Yeah.
and a lot of, so we have to fix the lines,
Yeah,
which is basically what the transfers do.
right.
But they don't address what I think was the topic you were mentioning. They don't really address whether or not the total is bigger or smaller,
For the
that Dana
office,
was talking about.
We'll find that out in,
They just address
September.
how much
Well,
we
you can
needed
go back and
to
look at the
transfer.
budget and just see what we transferred into it.
Well, the other thing that tells you, because the number's so big this year, that maybe we collectively didn't do such a great job of budgeting and then managing to that budget, right? So, anyhow, so we'll move on from that one. I did send you out a document. Yep,
Mr. Chairman, quick question, on the budget transfer for the, contracted interim finance director, what period of time does that cover?
this all ends June 30th. These are all items
Oh,
that
these are
they
past.
closed out for
Okay, got it.
June 30th, so we're doing this backwards, not forward thinking,
Got it.
okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we had to close out the fiscal year, that's why we had to take action by July 15th, because the fiscal year ended June 30th, so, okay?
What they don't address, what they don't address that came up at the board, I might have been in one of our joint meetings with the board and Eric there, was how we don't necessarily Harwich address the theory of under budgeting, and when these things, when transfers should take place, to deal with budgetary issues. Because it came up in that whole presentation of the fact that we were still ending up with negative account balances which aren't really appropriate from a municipal accounting standpoint.
Right.
And that should be, that is intended, and again, in accounting, to be dealt with earlier in the process than on July 10th.
Yeah. I also expect, and you all know because we all signed on to it, the document I sent to the Board of Selectmen having to do with a number of issues, including things like the finance director should attend our meetings, the 204, the concept we had last year of sitting down, looking in this kind of time frame once the books are closed, budget versus actual, and how we might proceed to make things a little better. Because historically we take the budget and then next year we just multiply everything by whatever, 5% or whatever it is, instead of going back and say, wait a minute, this one will be cut by 6% before you even think about adding something to it, you know. So what are the actuals versus whatever? And I hope the selectmen will take that up and invite us to come see them and get involved in that process. We will see. We're going to talk about liaisons in a few minutes with Dana.
There we go.
Yeah, if you keep your sheet on the budget from this year, the last one that we went to town meeting with, when you get to next year's start, all of a sudden some numbers will be different than how we left it this year. And that's because of these transfers and stuff, and you'll see something like you were talking about, you'll see some of them have gone lower, but most of them will have gone higher because of these transfers, which is different. They're just different than we've had it in the past, and it really has to do with paying consultants that charge more for the same work that the person in the job would have done.
And at least in looking at like the spreadsheets that you've done in the past, when you start seeing those in there, it confuses trying
Right.
to do comparisons.
Right.
Do I look at the post-adjustment column or the pre-adjustment column?
Yeah.
I think with the new administration, so-called, we may have an opportunity to have some influence on that. So it's actually better to understand and easier to work with.
I used to put that column in. I used to
Yeah.
put last year's plus to get to this year's
Yep.
of last year's. And then that would be the new base to start the next year. So you do your plus and minuses off of that final July 15th number.
Okay, let's move on. I sent you out a document called Town of Harwich Attracting and Retaining Public Safety Employees. I asked for comments. I got comments back on it. The intent here is, we've heard a lot over the years about how hard it is for the police and fire, et cetera, to remain competitive with other towns. And a lot of times the discussion comes down to housing. And I don't ever see anybody doing anything about that particular aspect. So this is an attempt just to come up with a concept, and the concept is to set aside from free cash in the coming year into a fund that would allow folks who join us as far as public safety employees. It could be expanded to teachers, who knows what, to give them an opportunity to get a leg up, to get the down payment on the house they need to, you know, to be part of our community, or at least be far enough away or close enough to us so that they can qualify to be a municipal employee here. I don't have all the answers here. I know, Scott, you had a program you ran at Columbia that did a similar kind of thing.
Yep.
I don't think it's our role to put the meat on the bones here. I think it's our role to send this along as a suggestion the Board of Selectmen might take up and might consider with the chiefs as they move forward, and the HR, you know, team, if you will. Just consider it, because you think of all the things we take and spend free cash on. Let's take this one and just scoop the first 400,000 or something like that, whatever the number is, and set up this thing and see how it goes. Maybe we never spend the money, maybe we spend it all in the first year. I don't know. I just think it might be something that would help us stay competitive. Yeah.
You asked a question when I sent you the Columbia thing, just as an example of how one institution does this kind of thing. You made a comment which I never responded with reason, but why is it only for tenured faculty? And the reason that Columbia doesn't offer the forgivable loan program to non-tenured faculty is because they don't really have the guaranteed job yet. Once you have tenure, you know you're gonna be there as long as you wanna be, practically.
Yeah.
And that's when you're willing to invest your money in real estate.
Yeah.
And one thing I would be concerned about is folks who've just started having the confidence to actually buy instead of renting, although I know renting is just as challenging in Harwich. But if the situation arises, it could be a really useful tool to get somebody just over the top in
Yeah,
terms of.
you need a mechanism by
assets.
which, over time,
Yeah,
you know, for instance, if they left in the first 5 years, you're paying it all back.
right.
You know, through the sale of the house, whatever, I'm making that up, but, and then maybe over time it gets, okay, we knock off, 5% a year going forward, and then if you're here for 20 years, it's
Yeah.
forgiven, or something like that, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, Dana.
Just my view on it, the one thing I think that's missing from your document would be some sort of handshake or involvement or participation from the two associations, police and fire.
Oh, yeah, absolutely,
I mean, they would have to.
yeah, it's a bargaining
It's
thing.
better to have their name on a town meeting article
Yep,
than not.
Yep.
And have them involved with.
this is throwing a concept at the
yeah,
board,
yeah.
see if it sticks with the board, and then the board has to go engage those folks and bring the so-called coalition together to support it and make it happen. Because it is, I think it's a bargainable thing,
And there is
quite frankly.
some pretty good programs in Massachusetts that also assists in that. We're not the only ones trying to get into this. And there's the HUD program, the Good Neighbor Next Door. There's the Officer Next Door First Time Home Buyer Program. There's a thing called Home Base and Residential Assistance for Families in Transition, or RAFT. And then there's the Massachusetts Rental Voucher Program. And these are specifically guided towards police and fire and EMTs. And then
And those programs generally, most of the list anyway that you just listed, are guided specifically towards lower income
right.
families.
Which if we don't pay more,
qualifying.
they get close to qualifying.
And this is in a town to make Harwich stand out
Right.
and make
And
us
this would
competitive.
supplement
Those are
anything they
available
could
to
do
any,
possible.
yeah, any department if you qualify, right? So, good.
But I think
guess-
that's.
This is not a charter meeting, but you're welcome this time.
I
Okay.
think it's just a way to, bringing in the associations, make it more tied to police and fire and have them actually participating as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
That was my only.
I guess I kind of, I do feel uncomfortable about whether or not this is our role making these kind of suggestions in terms of our charter, our charge. And so I'm uncomfortable about it. I think that asking the select board or to direct town administration and personnel and recruiting to be developing some kind of approaches to improve our recruiting ability and maintenance sustainability of employees, like was brought up earlier, is a big deal, but it's, I don't see it as being part of making these kind of particular suggestions as being within our charge. That's
All right,
just my
Dana?
view.
Yeah, I think that when you really look at our charge, you have to look more at the state provisions that allow finance committees to act. And those state provisions make it very clear that this is definitely within the purview of a finance committee to make financial suggestions and throw out ideas and stuff like that for the policymakers to act on, and to have something that's sent their way from us is definitely appropriate, it's definitely allowable, and done in many, many towns, and we've done it before too.
And by the way, if we send this to selectmen, they can take it and say, we have no interest, we're done, I mean, we're not.
Are other towns doing similar things to this? Is this a
We're
competitive-
trying to be competitive, okay?
Is this creatively competitive or comparison competitive?
I haven't studied every town, all 351 cities and towns in the Commonwealth.
Is this modeled after someone else's?
No, I just like a brain fart, right? I mean, so,
Brainstorm.
Okay, one of those too, but I mean, it's just, yeah, it's just one of those.
Sometimes a storm can cause, never
We
mind.
bolt from Olympus.
You know, my frustration is we talk and talk and talk, not we, but the town talks and talks and talks about doing something, I never see much happening. And just an attempt to say, hey, think about this one. That's all. Other comments? Michelle, do you have any comments?
Well, my thought is that if it has financial implications for the town, for example, not being able to attract and keep talent, then I would think it does make sense for us to make recommendations if we see ways that we might be able to solve the problem. Because, you know, I do think that there's implications for the town if you can't staff this type of personnel.
Well, think about the concept that we pay to send someone to the police academy. They get through the academy, they come here, you know, we paid for all that. They come here, they get, you know, qualified, certified, whatever. They stay here for 2 years and then they leave because Falmouth is paying $10,000 a year more. I'm making that up, obviously. And we've invested in that individual with no recourse. You know, they can go do what they want to do at that point in time. At least
And
with,
you also have the overtime issue.
yeah,
You know, that has financial implications as well. So I think it's definitely in our purview to make these types of suggestions. Did you have a number in mind?
well, no, when I wrote this, I mean, I just threw this, it said the intent is to establish a pool of funds, say $400,000, with the intent of providing up to $100,000 per applicant for the purpose of assisting in their down payment and their closing costs associated with the first-time purchase of a residential property, blah, blah.
And
So
is there a similar issue with teachers on
this
Cape
could be
Cod?
expanded, this could be expanded to all municipal employees, could be expanded to teachers. I don't know, that's, you know, it's just
That would
starting,
be it,
it's a
yeah.
starting
I'm
point,
just
that's all.
thinking because some people would be like, well, you know, what about teachers? Teachers are
I
critical
understand.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the concept is definitely worth looking at.
So would we suggest this to a department or the select board? Is this
My suggestion is, just my suggestion, that we would vote to just send this as for informational purposes to the Board of Selectmen, period.
Yeah.
And then they could do something with it or not. They could ask us to come in and talk about it if they wanted to. They could form a committee to go look at it. They could do a number of things. So, Dana.
There is a teacher next door program for teachers as well, so they can
Yeah,
get
but you keep hearing time and time again,
Yeah.
attracting teacher talent is a problem because of housing. I mean,
Well, trying to do something in Harwich for Harwich, I think is a great idea. And if we send it to the select board, then they know that at least it's something that we endorse or would help them with or want to join with them, and gives them,
this would at least go in
That clue.
this would at least go in correspondence, and they can, you know, elect to do what they want to do with it.
right.
So,
I don't know whether it's feasible or legal or whether it's too risky, but when there are affordable or attainable housing projects in the town, is a town allowed to allocate a portion of that housing to employees and then have stipulations that if you no longer are an employee, you give up your lease? Or is that, I mean, that's a legal question, but that would be another route to helping people on board.
yeah, we're not trying to solve all the problems.
No,
Yeah.
but I'm just thinking if you want to think of the
With-
array of possible.
I think it depends on whether-
With
solutions to that
affordable
problem.
housing developments, there is generally, or frequently anyway, most fairly significant affordable housing developments are being funded with government money primarily. They're not being funded other way. And as soon as they're being funded with government funding, they have to respond to the related regulations.
Mhm.
They do tend to allow for local preference, a percentage of local preference, which is local preference for the first set of occupants, not a permanent local preference, but an initial local preference. And local preference generally includes employees.
Mhm.
So the answer is sort of.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily say it can only be employees, it's open to
No,
everybody in the
It's,
town, quite
it's,
frankly.
Yeah, local
Yeah,
preference,
yeah.
right, but it does include some people who are not residents.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I do know on John Giorgio, I think was talking at town council before town meeting that he was going to, I think it was Nantucket that they represent, and they were voting on funding, the town funding employee housing, municipal employee housing. So then because the town is funding it, they have control over it. It's not a 40B, it's not, somebody else's money, it's the town money.
Right.
So if we, Harwich, decided they want to build 6 houses and pay for them, then I guess we could say if we want to, those are for municipal employees only. And we could set the conditions as to what that means.
Right.
Right.
So,
But as an example, all CPC money is essentially considered to be government, state money. So if you get when we do CPC articles, any of the housing ones require meeting regulatory housing.
Even though it's coming
Issues.
from town tax.
It's
It's matched
it's also
by the
coming from state.
Oh, it is matched by this, okay.
Yeah.
Not 100% like it used to be.
Not anymore.
but if the town decided to take a mortgage,
Mhm.
I'm making this up, say $4 million to go build its own housing for municipal employees, and we taxpayers, town of Harwich, are paying the debt service, et cetera, then we can do what we want with it.
That's right.
So, in theory.
250 quads on Thompson's Field will solve the problem.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Across the street from my house, so
So
it's
in terms of the
Also on Queen
idea,
Anne Road.
One at a time. Mark's got it.
so in terms of the idea in front of us, is there a revision process to this, or do you think it's good to go as is?
It's whatever, we're here to discuss it, so.
I mean, I would think, again, I would think if we were going to do something along these lines, we'd do something more general and not all the issues, even like Michelle brought up, that if you haven't studied the topic, if we're not gonna study a topic, then and throw out very narrow, specific things. I just don't think that's really appropriate. That if we want to
Yeah.
study a topic and make a bunch of possible related suggestions, like all employees or something other than loans, I mean, this is not a new topic in general in the world and in terms of the issue of housing.
And yet
That's fine, but
nobody's taken that across the goal line that I know of.
And
That's
if,
all.
and what we're not apparently, going to be a study and come up with a product. So it becomes this sort of random, very narrowly focused throwout. And
Yeah, I hear
we're
you.
not saying, gee, let's again, we're not gonna do a study, let's ask the Board of Selectmen to have somebody do a study or do a analysis or do something, come up with a suggestion. And come up with suggestions, come up with the world of the possibilities to address this topic. Because it's needless to say, a huge topic everywhere, not just here. That's, anyway.
And if it spurs the Board of Selectmen to take that action, I think it's fine. So, okay, what do you want to do? Dana?
I make a motion that we instruct the chair to wordsmith of this a little bit and maybe include some of the stuff we talked about tonight, or make it more general, or and send a draft around and we approve that and send it out.
There's a second to that?
I would second that. I think it's a good idea to make it a little bit more general.
So if I could, when you mean a little bit more general, do you mean open it up to every municipal employee?
No, I
What do you
think,
mean by more
I think,
general?
I mean, whether they decide to establish a 5-person team or a 3-person team or an 8-person team.
Or throw in the
that kind of
trash
thing-
can.
That kind of thing
Yeah.
would be up to them.
Or throw it in the trash can?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want to do anything with it.
That's what I meant, though, for this particular program going on from us to support public safety officers rather than the whole
Okay, so
employee land force.
would you include in your motion that I would incorporate any comments I receive by next Wednesday or something like that.
Sure.
So, and then we'll
If you could
consider.
do it by then.
Well, no, I mean, just somebody has, if we have specific comments, it's pretty
Yeah.
easy to turn it around. So.
I was just thinking about like a wrapper that says that this is one option that might attract employees, and that the board should review other options as well that might arise, including rental assistance or town-owned housing or whatever else, just to make it general and open, kind of more open-ended, is what I was thinking about. Not
But as
necessarily
Peter said,
the
if
group
we,
of employees.
if you want to entertain something specific, have
Well-
it to him by Wednesday.
Mhm.
And my comment on that would be, Scott, I believe, that in the transmittal email, that the email could address that this is just
Sure.
one thing. Attached, please find this that addresses
Mhm.
attracting and retaining public safety personnel, but
Yeah.
it could open up to everybody. I mean, that kind of thing.
And we also have the benefit of our liaison being here and privy to the discussion, and so that's my motion.
If this board doesn't mind when they have select board comments, I'll make a mention of this if you don't object, that this may be coming.
That's no problem. Right. You guys meeting every other week or every week?
No, it's
Every week.
weekly. Yeah,
Marching on.
Okay.
Weekly, I mean, we skipped the
Well, what you should say is you should expect something coming in correspondence from the Finance Committee on the top. Okay. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put that motion to a vote. We'll do a roll call. Dan?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
No,
Okay, Dana?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Aye, chair is an aye, so you have the vote
I feel
noted.
for you.
So it's 6-1. Thank you. Okay, next, set time of year for Finance Committee liaisons. I'll just give you the list that we're currently dealing with, or have dealt with. Unfortunately, Mr. Keller had decided to move on from the Finance Committee, so we had to cross
Yeah.
his name off of all of these. Mark, there is something you could help us with. The moderator's been very slow to act on filling your position and Angelo's position, the two open positions we have. I know he has two candidates because he's talked to me about them at town meeting, and I thought he was going to appoint them. I sent him a couple of emails, crickets.
I thought I saw something in the Chronicle
Yeah.
that he was gonna be doing interviews, and that was a question I was gonna pose to the board, is Tina Gaines, I believe, is a possible candidate, somebody else, that they should be notified if they don't know already, but I'll look back in the past edition of the Chronicle, but there was something about town
It's in
moderator.
this week's.
Yeah, would be interviewing candidates at the library, but
Okay, good.
But if you know, Peter, the candidates, I'll
Well,
try and send you the article.
But he may have gotten additional candidates from when he talked to me, so I don't know. I just haven't heard anything, so. But as you know, here we are, we're starting the new year, if you will. And, you know, we're gonna make liaison appointments, or at least, you know, get close to it. And if you have two new members coming on board, it's like, okay, what are they gonna get? You know,
Well, I'm sure some of us would give up.
well, I understand that, but it's just, you know, it's one of those things. Okay.
I did hear that I talked to the town clerk today, and she did say specifically that he had told her that he was waiting for the election results before he made final appointments. And I'm sure that as a check the box kind of thing, he's having some public hours just to make sure that there's nobody out there that wants to come forward that hasn't already let him know. So I'm sure that once he has his public thing at the library this week or next week, whenever it is, it's coming right up, he'll get around to appointments quickly after that, we can hope.
Okay.
2 questions.
Yep.
Or a question with 2 parts. Well, do you think we should add the Charter Review Commission and the Housing Trust?
You can add, so one of the questions I have, we just lost them. So let's start at the bottom. For instance, energy and climate. Bob is their liaison. Have you had any discussion with them in the last year?
No,
Okay. Water, wastewater, I had discussion. I know Mark with the schools had discussion. Mark, have you had any discussion with Rec and Youth?
I've interacted with them, but I haven't attended any meetings.
Okay. How about real estate and open space? Bob?
No,
No? Planning board? Michelle, have you had any contact with the planning board as their liaison the last year, other than to say you're the liaison?
No,
Okay.
that was gonna be one of my questions, Chair, about the liaison position and how we want that to operate.
Yep, okay, well, I'm just running through these for a second. So Dan on the library, have you had any interaction with those people?
Well, I maintained contact with Ginny.
Okay, all right. Bob on the harbor and waterways?
yes,
You did, okay, good. Dana on golf?
Yes.
You played golf?
No, I didn't talk to the committee, though. I did talk to the keeper of the turf.
Okay, all right, all right.
Because he is
I
more
under-
knowledgeable about what
I
their
understand that.
financial needs are more than
Okay, police and,
anybody's in other
police and
committees.
fire have had contact with Dana on DPW.
Yes,
They still let you over there?
with the director.
All right, Dan on CPC,
Yep.
okay. Scott on assessors.
You know, I reached out, I actually forget the name of the chair. Who's the chair of
Richard
assessors?
Wayside?
Yeah.
Richard.
He was here.
Yes, the
Yeah.
chairman of-
I reached out to him and he said, no one ever comes from finance. But I have been thinking about things that I'd like to do with the assessors, including that sheet about tax impact of capital projects, and that's something that the assessor would need to help work with, so
Okay, all right.
I have some ideas for the coming year on that front.
Okay, capital outlay committee, we have our two, we're gonna deal with that in a few minutes here. Charter review committee, we do have two people. Is that what you're talking about, Bob?
No, the charter review committee is, I'm not sure if it's going to be active now that we have a charter review commission with a very tight schedule of stuff that it has to
But what are we
accomplish.
calling it now?
Well, the
The charter
committee's,
commission?
well, the committee still exists as of this moment, but there is also a commission.
Just 12
How many of
members.
the committee members were elected to the commission?
Well, of the old committee members, date everything, at least two. Not that it was a big committee.
No,
Okay.
no.
We'll circle back in a
We'll
second.
sort that.
Okay, Berkshire County Working Group, we met once or twice, I think, Scott.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that, I mean, they're fully funded now,
Right.
okay? And they should be off doing their thing. And then end of year operating budget review team, Bob, you did that, all it didn't go anywhere,
Tried to, yes.
right? So,
New administration now, so.
new administration now. Okay, so, let's start with this.
Just a comment, anybody that is interested in going by, the work that particularly the town has done on the Brooks Academy is outstanding.
Yeah.
Just as a comment, there's a lot of invested time and effort and by town employees that has gone into the interior of that building, and it looks great.
So the question, and Mark, I'd ask you this question, is there any longer a Brooks Academy working group? Because I think basically Sean is working with the Brooks Academy Museum people, right?
It's a capital project now, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I think at the last select board meeting, Megan Eldridge did a report on things. There is a timeline to hire an architect and get things moving, she did mention that, so they're gonna hire an architect, so they are moving along towards spending all the money that's been appropriated.
Well, the
That's
work,
their job.
but the focus of the meeting or two we had with the working group was more about what's the total number and going to the town meeting, getting the authorizations to spend that kind of money. That was more, it wasn't to manage the project going forward. So I think that working group is basically defunct,
I would think so.
but I think it would be the call of the Board of Selectmen to say, yes, it's defunct. So, okay. And then the one at the top, Mark, do you have this sheet? Did we give you?
I have an extra here.
probably easier to make notes on it. In our memo that we sent to the board, which I hope you guys are taking up at some point in time, that talks about, you know, financial stuff and 204 and all that kind of stuff. The concept of that end-of-year operating budget review, we suggested in there that happened. We were assuming at that time we had a new finance director and we were moving forward. But the concept, if I remember, was right, to get that team working before, or get it finalized so that by September 15th, before budget season starts, you have at least a clear understanding of what we did last year for actuals and what might be adjusted in the baseline budget before we move forward. So that, and I think we'd still want to do that, right? I think, right? So, yep.
Sorry, I'm tapping. I've got to run back to work for a crisis, but I would volunteer to keep contact from Mr. Kelleher if you would entertain such a proposal.
Okay.
Unless someone else would prefer to take it.
All right. We'll assign others as soon as you leave, so. Okay. All right, so now that's fine. Any others you had on there?
That was just the first one, but
Okay.
I'm not sure where the rest of the book is.
Yeah, okay. So on the Charter Review Committee, do we want to add the Charter Commission? Or do we want to lead this with the understanding that it means the Charter Commission?
The point has been very pointedly made that they are distinctly different entities. So I think if we want to include the commission, that would be an additional inclusion. Now, it could be for the same people.
That's what I would suggest if we're going to do that way.
Well, that's what I would suggest.
So let's add something called the Charter Commission, okay? Are you okay with that?
I am.
Okay, so, go ahead.
I kind of think that where they are an elected body, that at some point we just set up a meeting with their whole group and talk about financial things rather than liaisons.
Well, you know,
Concept.
the
I don't mind
library,
the same two people
I know,
also.
the library has a
Yeah.
elected board of trustees, right?
Yeah.
And we still have liaisons to the library, so let's be consistent about that, I
Okay.
guess. So let's just ask on Charter Commission, Charter Review. Dan, you did it last year, you still interested?
If no one else wants it, yeah, I'll do it.
No one else wants it, so, no, I'm teasing. Okay, and Dana, you had your name
Yeah.
on it. So you guys are okay with that?
And I've had discussions with Sam.
All right, so, and you would take both, right?
Yep.
Wherever that takes you. I almost think it's the same meeting or whatever. Okay? All right, Capital Outlay Committee. Very specifically, we have to vote tonight to appoint 2 members to the Capital Outlay Committee for a term to expire 6/30/26. It has to be that way. Mark, you did it last year. Thank you very much. Scott, you did it last year. I'm assuming you'd want to
Yes.
continue.
Yes.
All right, is there anyone else who would like to work on the Capital Outlay Committee?
I'm looking at the TV.
Michelle, everybody's pointing to you. I don't know.
I think Michelle, with all her experience with working on buildings this past year or so, might be a very good thing that would help us on that committee. What do you think?
Sure, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. Anybody else who wants to push her out of the way?
Would you like a motion?
Yeah, hang on a second. I'm just writing this down. Okay, motion, please.
I move to nominate Michelle and Scott to the Capital Outlay Commission as liaisons with a term ending on 6/30/26.
Second?
Committee. Not commission.
Sorry, committee.
Committee. All right, moved and seconded to appoint Scott Nora and Michelle Galucci to the as our representatives to the Capital Outlay Committee for a term to expire 6/30/26. Any discussion? Hearing none, we're going to take a vote. Dan?
Aye.
Scott?
I'm allowed to say aye?
Yeah, you can vote for yourself. Bob?
Absolutely. Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Aye. Chair's an aye. Unanimous vote.
Your interest is fully out in the open and
Yeah.
available for sunshine.
Okay. Scott, you're interested in still working the assessors?
Yes.
Right? Okay. CPC, Dan, you can follow that,
Yep.
yep. Dana,
Yep.
DPW. I'll stick with police and fire. Dana, do you want golf?
Yep.
Okay, Bob, do you still want the harbor and waterways?
Sure.
Okay, library, Dan?
Yep.
Okay, planning board, Michelle? Planning board,
So, sure, I just wanted to bring something up as we discuss this, which is, you know, these meetings take place during the day, the workday.
Yep.
I work full-time.
so look, your job, your role as a liaison, anybody's role, is not to attend everybody's meetings. Your role
Okay.
is to reach out to the chair and say, as the finance committee representative, you are willing, able, and ready to help them wherever they might need it in their financial matters. So it may be you never hear from those people. It may be, hey, will you come in, would like to present our budget to you before we submit it to somebody, right? That's all. You're not there,
Okay.
you're not there to influence how they do their business. It's only if they have a matter that needs some attention, potentially from the finance committee, you're there to give advice. So that's all I do. I reach out, and then it's up to them to take the ball and say, okay, I either don't need your help, or thank you very much, right?
Okay,
So,
great, with the exception of the capital outlay committee, because that's an active,
that's an acted, that, with a definite deadline to get their work done and put the plan together, yeah.
okay,
Yep.
that's fine. Yep,
Okay?
good.
All right, and by the way, assuming we get 2 new members, we're gonna give up some of these roles and let them have it, okay? So, you know, we'll see where that takes us once we get new members, because we want everybody to share the load. Mark?
So beg your forgiveness, but I've got to run.
Okay. Thank you. Good seeing you. Okay, let's see, where was I? Yeah, Michelle,
Chairman.
okay. Real Estate and Open Space Committee,
Same as that.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay, Rec and Youth, oh, Mark said he did that. Regional schools will leave open at the moment. I suspect one of the candidates that the new appointees will want to take that.
Which one?
Yeah, which one, you gonna guess?
No.
Water, wastewater, I'll keep, and you still want energy and climate?
Sure.
We'll wait for your report. We'll wait for your report.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will update this list and pass it around. Hopefully by next meeting, we can, you know, solidify it and move forward with it, okay?
So, you know, the year before you took that on, I did it and had the same results, so.
Well, I did go and talk with them the year before, but I'm quite sure I didn't during the last fiscal year.
Did they actually do anything?
They actually are now, and makes me re-energized in following to some extent the board meetings. They have been actively bringing forth some stuff.
Okay,
Well, they're bringing forth some stuff related to sustainability, climate, and, you know, energy savings, whatever, you know, making Harwich a more energy efficient town.
okay. All right, any old business that we missed? And is required? Yep,
One item,
yep.
so what happened with the town email addresses?
We have our liaison from the Board of Selectmen here, will answer that question for us. He's laughing.
I don't know. That's a good question. I did get
He's-
one and I'm newly elected, so I could ask the, Sarah Eaton. That's the person who.
We have been well, you know, we've been promised email addresses forever, right?
Yeah, so I will make a point of
He
asking.
loves making notes.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, to comment on that, I had that as an action item, and the last I heard on that subject was that they were in the process of contracting with a third party to do these addresses for us. And as you know, I went and set up my own Gmail address,
I do
separate
know.
address, because I didn't feel like waiting any longer. But it would be nice to know, did that deal die, or are they forthcoming?
I will send an email to Sarah Eaton tomorrow, and a copy to Peter and you, and when she responds, hopefully, to all.
Thank you.
And by the way, just while we're talking about e-commerce, I guess, you getting many comments about the website?
To my knowledge,
Okay.
heard a few, but not.
I've heard some people having a very hard time navigating the website.
I find it very, very unfriendly.
It
and
is.
Particularly.
That's a kind way of saying I was.
Yes, and particularly worse than the old website,
Exactly.
that, which wasn't great, but it was much better.
For a while, I thought it
it
was
was
me
much better
just
than
because I was used to the old way.
I think it's very, very hard navigation, and not just navigation, but difficult to that even the contents don't seem to be well done. It just seems like a very poor product.
Especially on things like the charter, you can't read the charter, you have to go almost paragraph by paragraph to look at the different pages instead of
Yeah,
opening up the whole charter and
Right.
being able to read through
But
it.
even if you put in, like I remember one time going in and just putting in the word charter, and like it led me to nothing. You had to be-
I've tried that.
You had
exactly.
to be more specific about it.
Right.
And even then, using the search button on that
Yeah, it's awful.
is amongst the awful.
It's not good.
It's not good.
And I thought it was me for a long time, but
Yeah,
I don't
no.
think so. Okay, so one of our primary responsibilities, first meeting of the new fiscal year, is to reorganize. I am not going to do the chair going forward. I think I made that pretty clear. I did take the opportunity to reach out to Bob. Bob has said that he will, I won't put words in your mouth, but he will assume that responsibility if we decide we'd like him to do that. Please, please, please. So we'll start with the chair. We need a chair, vice chair, and a clerk are our positions. So could I have a motion on the chair?
I move that Bob McCready is the next chairman.
I'll second it.
All right, moved and seconded that Bob McCready be our chairman.
Effective immediately. No.
Any other nominations? Hearing none?
I'm sorry, can I interject for a minute? Excuse me. So we're doing a reorg?
We're required, it's a new fiscal year. We are required, like every other board and committee, to reorganize ourselves. The only ones with the exceptions are the Board of Selectmen, they reorganize as soon as the election happens and they do the next meeting. Everybody else goes by fiscal year, okay? So we have to, as we have now, we have a chair, a vice chair, and a clerk. Okay, so we have to fill those three positions.
And
Okay,
you're not chair, you're stepping down as chair?
I am stepping down. I'm not stepping down from the committee, I'm just stepping down. I've done it for 3 years now. It's time to, I'm a firm believer in rotating things and having a good bench and all that kind of good stuff.
agree,
I mean,
yeah.
it's all healthy for all of us. And doesn't mean you can't come back to do something at some point in time, okay?
Got it, okay.
Okay? Do you have any other, do you have a nomination to make, or are you happy?
No,
Okay,
no,
all right, so the motion is to vote to appoint Bob McCready as the chair of the Finance Committee. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll put it to a vote.
Aye.
Dan, Scott, want to vote for yourself?
Might as well.
I know, why not, right? That means you'll
It'll
take
give us
it.
much more confidence if we
Okay,
do.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
aye.
chair is an aye, and note that Mark is absent, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. Congratulations, Bob. We have some parting gifts for you in a few minutes, so including the key to the building. All right, so now we need a vice chairperson. Do you have any nominations?
I will resign if there are nobody fills the other jobs.
I nominate Scott as the vice chair.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to appoint Scott Norm as the vice chair. Scott, are you willing to serve?
I don't know what's involved, but I'm willing to learn, so.
Well, I
yes.
guess the former vice chair,
Yeah.
so he can,
Perfect,
you
right?
know, it's the way it's supposed to sort of work,
Basically, you're gonna run a
right?
meeting if he's absent and
Yeah.
there's a quorum present. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's the
I
big
don't know
thing.
what, I don't know what his job is, so.
Good.
I'm in a worse position than
Better
you.
position than you,
That's
right?
right.
Okay. Any other nominations? So it's been moved and seconded that Scott Nolan be our vice chairman. We'll put that to a vote. Dan?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob? Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 6-0. Mark is absent. Okay. And now we need a clerk.
Are you interested in that, Michelle?
Honestly, no.
Okay, I have a suggestion. I think that of the new memberships, there'll be certainly people that are worthy of that job and could take it on unless Dan's interested.
No.
Unless you're interested.
No, not interested.
So if, in the interim, if you would want to just appoint me as parliamentarian, I'll keep the minutes and that kind of stuff and get us posted in those things until then. And then when new members come on, we can bring this one back up again.
Good
We'll appoint
idea.
you as the clerk until you resign once somebody shows up.
All right.
So,
Would that work?
keep the name.
Yeah, no.
Keep the name.
I don't mind that at all. I've done it for decades,
Are there
so.
new, are there new people possibilities? Are there,
For us?
it's, yeah, it sounded
Yes.
like there are names, people floating around.
Yeah,
I'm gonna back up, since you asked the question. At town meeting, the moderator told me he had 2 applications.
Okay,
He was waiting for the results of the election because he didn't know if we were gonna have 1 seat open or 2 seats open.
we knew.
okay.
We knew I was gonna wear it, no, anyhow. So then there were 2, and he and I even had a discussion, strategizing if there's only 1, what do you do? If there are 2, what do you do?
Yeah.
And so now we know the results of the election. I think he's going through a process, as was described, of conducting formal interviews or whatever, and he will appoint shortly. So there are at least 2 people, and they should get appointed or something. So we'll have hopefully at next meeting a full board.
Good, great,
Okay.
yeah.
And one of the topics would be, what roles do they want to play?
Does Judith Molstead still do the minutes?
Yes.
So it's a lot easier job.
We'll talk
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
logistics stuff in a second, so. All right, so the motion was made and seconded that Dana be the clerk. Let's just leave it that simple.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, and then we can deal with the rest, Bob can deal with the rest of it as we go forward, whatever. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Dan?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 6-0. Congratulations, Dana. Okay, so now, Judy Molstead is our clerk, is our secretary. And so what she does is she takes the recordings and then she produces them into draft minutes, sends them to the chair. And by the way, I'll notify her of the new lineup. Okay.
Well, that's if it didn't record, but we think we're recording, so. Good with that.
And then the chair edits them or, whatever, gets them back to her, and then she flips them out to everybody. Okay? The other thing that Judy does for us, which is very important, that Mark used to do in coordination with her, we're in this room at this time and this date because Mark went and secured on the calendar downstairs this meeting room for these dates. And I believe, Mark, you did it through the end of the calendar year, right?
Just, there is a holiday that is on a Thursday. So I have several months, but I'd like somebody to check. I think it's,
It would be the clerk that would check.
yeah, I
I'll
think
take care of
it's
that.
November or whatever. There
Yeah.
was a day
Thursday holiday?
that there was a holiday, and
Yeah.
that, so I'll leave that
Okay,
up to you.
okay.
Probably,
So
veterans.
Dana, what I suggest
Yeah,
is you
I'll
check
double check, yeah.
downstairs, you find out the dates for the rest of the calendar year, give them to the chair, so he has them. And then, Bob, what I would tend to do is about 10 days before the meeting, I would draft an agenda. It's not very difficult. Draft an agenda, send it to Judy, and Judy produces it, gets all the credentials, et cetera, so that we can activate the TV and all that stuff, okay? But it's important that it gets properly posted, otherwise we don't have a meeting.
Yeah,
Right. So
and she will do that?
she posts it,
Yeah,
but you have to drive the agenda.
yeah,
It's-
There's an actual very easy email process that does it now, so that it's a lot better than.
Yeah,
it used to-
she's
you
in,
used to have to
she's
get
totally
it
in the loop,
typed
she
up
does
and
it.
then bring it in and
great, terrific.
get it on the board and all that
There's a deadline, it's, what is it?
48 hours.
48 hours before the meeting.
Yeah, we really don't want to wrap against that.
No, no.
I mean, just remember, you've always got the term other. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, if something really comes up,
Right.
you know, so it's all possible. Okay, so that's how that works. Also, once the meeting minutes are approved, they have to get to the town clerk.
and that's also done via email now.
So,
There's a minutes town clerk address and there's a agenda town clerk address, so it's all fairly,
Yeah, does Judith do that also?
what's that?
Does Judith do that?
I think you were passing the minutes on to,
I
no,
never
Judy
did.
was, Judy was. Yeah,
I
Judy
never
was,
did.
yeah.
Passing them to the clerk, to the
Yeah,
town clerk.
yeah.
yeah.
But it's good that you either have an email discussion or call Judy or whatever and just say,
Yep.
hey, you
Yep.
know, here are the things, right?
Yep.
So,
And it also is a good thing to do, just to sit with the town clerk and talk about it. You know, she might say, oh, they just passed a law 2 weeks ago that says
Yep.
we also have to wear blue hats or something.
It's possible these days.
okay. The other official thing I need to do is give you the box and a chewed up key to the back door. You're
And-
responsible for the door. That's the
and
key to the town
You have
hall.
animals that live with you, Peter?
I
It
did.
does look like it has been chewed up,
It's not a cat.
literally.
It's not a cat. So, all right, anything else? Have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn? Second?
Undebatable, we're adjourned.
All right,
At what time?
I got 7:03,
7:03.
which the minutes
Good night, all.
Good night.
Michelle.
So Dana, I just hit stop record now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went for an hour and 1 minute, so it's